YouTube fam, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope that you've been doing well. So I am back today to talk about this conversation that's been going viral. This is with B.Simone interviewing her best friend Shekinah. And the thing that's been the talk of social media is that many people think that B. Simone it was not a true friend or was not a true best friend. But I beg to differ. I really beg to differ. I've been talking about people thinking or calling people best friends for months now. I have several videos talking about just that, best friends. First of all, I think that word is used too loosely. I myself believe that some of us do not understand what a best friend is. A best friend is someone that's there through thick and thin. A best friend is someone that you share your deep, trusting, and cherish bondage with. A best friend is a person that you confide in and you share your deepest thoughts and feelings about a certain situation. And a best friend is there to support you in good times and challenging times, right? But a best friend is not a person that is responsible for your financial burdens, if you will, your finance. That's not what a best friend is. And I think with this conversation with B. Simone and her best friend Shekinah is exactly what that is talking about. So, without further ado, allow me to share this little clip with you. And of course, I will be back to continue to talk about what a best friend is. So, let's go. Let's listen to this.
Being a best friend with a celebrity, everybody thinks that, oh, because you're connected to this person, then your life is just as grand as theirs, or you got
it, or they helping you.
Baby, didn't have a job, living with my parents, a single mom. All this happened to me this past year.
Jesus.
And then it's like to not have resentment in my heart towards you because I saw you do this for other people. I saw you give a check to somebody to help them through whatever they went through. And it's like, God, like nobody didn't give me a handout, but guess what? That wasn't your responsibility. God had to take me through that for my own season, for my own thing. I had to get my car repossessed.
Jesus.
I had to go through the food stamps line. I had to be on Medicaid because whatever I'm building my story too. But it's like, as a friend somebody who has it, it's hard to digest. They're probably shocked that I'm even saying this right now.
And that is that clip, y'all. And that's exactly what I mean. I admire truly Shekinah. I really admire her. She put it out there. She didn't have a job. Why? I don't know. We don't know. She was a single parent. She had to go live with her mother, her parents. Thank goodness that she had parents that she could go and live with. You know, that's a blessing right there. So she had a roof over her head. She had to, get her car repossessed. She had to get in the food stamp line. She had to get Medicaid. That's a testimony. That's a testimony for somebody out there. A best friend, like I said, a best friend, now don't get me wrong, a best friend will extend an olive branch. A best friend will make sure you have food to eat. You know what I'm saying? But a best friend, and they will uplift you, keep you uplifted, keep you motivated, encourage you. Just share, confide in some of the feelings and things that you might be going through. That's a best friend, y'all. I've had a best friend for over about 50 years. And I have never supported her financially. But what I have done is shown her my support. Her mother passed. I was right there for a shoulder for her to cry on. You know what I'm saying? She was going through, if she was going through trials or challenging any other things that were challenging, then I was there to support her. That might have been taking her out to have a nice meal. That might have been taking her out to get a pedicure or whatever, just to lift her up, to make her feel better. But that was not to pay her car note if she to prevent it from getting repossessed. Because what's going to happen if I pay one car note? What's going to happen to the next month and the next month and the next month? I can't keep paying her car note. That's not what a best friend is for. And a lot of y'all got that twisted. That is not what a best friend is for. And it's not the best friend responsibility to take care of a grown person like you. It's not. You are grown. It is not my responsibility to take care of a grown woman. Now, as I stated, I will hand out an olive branch. I will feed you if you hungry. If you don't have a place to stay, I might give you somewhere to stay for a little while. But like I said, y'all, this is something that I think once it gets started, you got to know when it ended. And it's better not to even really start something like that. And like I said, this was a testimony. This was a Shekinah's testimony of the things that she had to do to make her stronger, make her have be more responsible person, be more responsible for her actions. You know, sometimes our actions, we can cause our own issues, our own problems through the actions that we take. And so sometimes we have to go through the hard times. And again, it's not anybody else's responsibility to pay your way. Now we don't know what B.Simone might have went through her hard sweat and work and tears to get to where she is. And just like Shekinah said, one thing she said is that it was hard not to resent what she saw B.Simone doing for someone else. That is so true, because that resentment in your heart, that jealousy and envy can harden your heart. And that's something that you have to pray about. That's B.Simone's money. She can do whatever she wants to do with it. And maybe the Lord just guided her not to be Shekinah's clutch. You know what I'm saying? Crutch. Not to be her crutch. She had to learn. Sometimes you got to learn the hard way, right? And like I say, I admire Shekinah. I really do. I thank her for sharing her testimony. Perhaps that will help somebody else out there. Now, the word of God in James 1 2 4 says, consider it a pure joy to face many trials, many kinds of trials, because you know that the faith develops perseverance. And that's exactly what Shekinah did. She did what she needed to do to get back on her feet. She had to persevere. She had to work hard. She had to endure those things that she wasn't used to get to where she needed to go and where she needed to be. Allow perseverance to finish its course so that you may be mature and complete. And I bet if you talk to Shekinah now, she would say that she is mature and complete. This is something that she did for herself and her children or child or whatever. And it just highlights the opportunity to grow and mature in perseverance. Romans 5:3-5 says, not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings. Sufferings produce endurance, and endurance produce characters, and character produce hope, and hope does not put us to shame. So again, you see, even the word of God tells us that sometimes we do have to go through trials and tribulations of many kind, and no, we don't like it, but that produces perseverance, and it produces endurance. You know, it's a testimony. um, But again, I love what Shekinah said. I hope that this testimony of hers will help someone out there and stop beating up B.Simone. That was not B.Simone's responsibility, y'all, to financially support her best friend. I've been best friends with my best friend for 50 years. And I'm not going to financially support her. That's not to say, now don't get it twisted. That's not to say that I won't help her, but I won't be financially responsible for her mess ups. No, I will not. Or whatever may have went on. Maybe she didn't mess up. Maybe she just lost her job. Maybe she just fell on hard times. But I'm just saying, when will it end? If you begin to pay your friends or whatever um, bills, when is that going to end? That can put you in a bind from paying their things. From that can put you in a bind. So really, really understand. I encourage you to understand what a best friend means. A best friend is not 20 or 10. A best friend is you usually got one or two, maybe two at the most. I'm talking about a best friend, a person that you really confide in, a person that you really trust with your deepest secrets. You know they ain't gonna go nowhere. Okay, that is a true best friend. And like I say, somebody going to support you through thick and thin and have their shoulder so you can cry on. That's what a best friend is. A best friend is not here to support you making wrong decisions, financial decisions. That's not what a best friend is. But y'all tell me, share your comments and your thoughts. What do you think a best friend is? I'm hearing this too much. I'm hearing about these best friends, and the best friends and the leader, the person that wasn't a best friend. That was a devil in disguise. That was a sheep in wolf clothing. That's what that was. So be very, very careful of who you consider yourself or your best friend. Really consider that. I'm telling y'all, I've seen best friends. I've did videos on best friends deleting the other friend. You remember that young girl that got out the car and was dancing, twerking in front of the car, and she thought she was with friends? I'm telling y'all, be very, very careful of who you consider your best friend and who you allow in your circle. But until the next time, I wish you nothing but peace and blessings, and be well. Take care of yourself and each other. Until the next video, thanks for watching.